Is the human Y chromosome disappearing? If you've read the headlines, you may think the male sex is undergoing imminent extinction.
Y-chromosomal genes have been quietly getting wiped out, leaving women's two sturdy X chromosomes smugly intact. So, does this mean we're heading towards a manless future?
I'm Krutik, I have a PhD in genetics, and today we're going to go through the real story of the Y chromosome, why it's decayed over the last 300 million years, and why it has stopped decaying. And to show you why you shouldn't really worry about the modern Y chromosome in humans decaying further, we're going to look at a monumental paper from Hughes et al. In 2012. To understand what Hughes and her team found, we have to go back a long time, back to our amniote ancestors which lived around 300 million years ago. Here, the X and Y chromosome did not exist. Biological sex wasn't inherited through DNA of parents. Rather, it may have been controlled by temperature or other external factors, just as we see in modern turtles and crocodiles. We know the precursor to the X and Y chromosome were a completely normal identical pair of autosomes. But around 180 million years ago, in an early mammalian ancestor, there evolved a master switch. Normal gene called SOX3 mutated into SRY, the sex-determining region Y. If an embryo expresses SRY, it will develop male traits, whereas if it does not express SRY, it will continue to express female traits. Suddenly, gametes were able to dictate sex, and this seemed to be very successful as this has been passed down into most mammals. But how do we know this happened around 180 million years ago? Well, that answer lies with the platypus.
Waddler's no flat foot, its paws are webbed. It's one of only a few creatures that combines traits from birds, reptiles, and mammals.
Platypuses split from the mammalian family tree around 190 million years ago. They do not have our XY system, but other distantly related mammals, marsupials such as kangaroos and mice, they do share our XY system, and therefore the XY system evolved after the platypus left the family tree, but evolved before distant mammals such as marsupials split off from our ancestors. Once that SRY master switch evolved, the proto-X and proto-Y chromosomes had a massive problem. They were no longer identical twins. In normal chromosomes, there is a process called recombination or crossover. Your parents' chromosomes line up and swap DNA. This builds genetic diversity and also allows for faulty genes to have a backup. This level of redundancy is why our DNA-based organisms do so well and can maintain lineages for so many billions of years. Now imagine if proto-Y and proto-X chromosomes continued this DNA swapping like normal autosomes, and the SRY was accidentally swapped over into the X chromosome. Or worse, what if the Y chromosome accidentally lost its SRY gene? The consequences for sexual reproduction would be catastrophic. It would lead to an organism which could not continue reproducing as our species now knows how to do. To protect the SRY, proto-Y chromosome locked it down through a structural mutation called an inversion. A chunk of DNA literally flipped upside down. It could no longer line up with the X chromosome in this position, and therefore the SRY mutation or SRY gene could not be transferred or recombined. According to Hughes' genetic map, this happened in 5 massive waves, creating distinct evolutionary strata or layers, permanently cutting off sections of the Y chromosome from its historical evolutionary twin. Here is where the destinies of the X and Y chromosomes split, and where the myth of the disappearing males begin. Completely isolated, the Y chromosome now could no longer cross over to repair itself in organisms. When a random mutation occurred within a gene of the Y chromosome, the gene would stay broken. This accumulation of genetic decay is called Muller's ratchet, like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy over millions of years. The Y chromosome shrank from roughly 1,000 genes to today around 70 to 50 genes depending on species. Basic maths suggests it should vanish entirely, but that Nature paper from 2012 completely destroys this maths. Hughes and her team sequenced and compared the Y chromosomes between humans, chimpanzees, and macaques, specifically rhesus macaques. They wanted to know exactly how many genes have been lost in the human Y chromosome since we split off from macaques around 25 million years ago. The answer? A massive 0. We haven't lost a single gene in 25 million years. The remaining genes in the Y chromosome are so critical for survival that they are fiercely protected by evolution. Interestingly though, the chimpanzees did lose some of their Y chromosome genes. However, that is due to a completely different reason. Chimpanzees are highly promiscuous and they have an intense sperm competition. Their Y chromosome are in a frantic mutation arms race, causing genetic chaos. And humans don't have that issue, and apparently macaques do not either. Finish off, even if we did lose the Y chromosome, there would probably still be men. There are species of spiny rats in Okinawa that do not have the Y chromosome, but they still produce males. The systems that we have right now require there to be a female and a male, regardless of how much the Y chromosome decays.
That a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
Being able to look back hundreds of millions to billions of years in the past is one of the triumphs of modern biology in my opinion. And I actually explored this in a similar ancient evolution video where I explored the evolution of the thyroid hormone and how it was essential for our ancestors to move around in the primordial oceans. But the algorithm didn't really push this one, and it's a little bit older. I was still new to YouTube. I still am new to YouTube, but I was even newer back then. And if you like this kind of genetic deep dive, I promise you'll love this one too, so please check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And hit the bell, follow me on X, and I'll see you next time for more science.